Hearing that we need to check in with our senior insider, Charania. He has some breaking news out of Phoenix. Shams, what more can you tell us?
Malika, the Phoenix Suns have informed all interested teams they are not moving Kevin Durant. Obviously, the Warriors started this all off with their pursuit of Kevin Durant last week. There was some level of an engagement, and several more teams called today. But the Suns made a trade today, trade away Jusuf Nurkic, brought in a couple potential role players. They want to see how this team looks for the second half of the season. Kevin Durant did not expect his name to be in any trade rumors. He has not requested a trade out of Phoenix this season, from my understanding, and was blindsided by even being involved in any conversation. I am also told there will be a full evaluation of this team if they are not able to turn it around by the offseason.
Shams, thank you so very much. So after all of those conversations, Kevin Durant will remain with the Phoenix Suns. We appreciate you stopping by once again. Bob, what is a full evaluation? What is that?
I don't know. I mean, first of all, like forming a league with 1 minute, and Shams is great at what he does. I'm sure he just heard that because we did breaking news. So Phoenix alerted the league with 2 minutes to go on the clock. We are not open for. It's kind of like
exactly.
Okay, you know,
I wasn't able to get a deal done.
Yeah,
that's what that means. That's what that means.
So if I call right now, I'm out. Yeah, I guess we're not listening anymore. Full evaluation. That's the big words, but every team's doing full evaluations. What makes this different is Kevin Durant's name was thrown out.
Yeah.
The world knows it. He knows it. He didn't ask for it. That makes you feel a certain way. And the team is going to play, and he loves basketball. Kevin's going to go play.
Oh, ultimate hooper.
And then at the end of the season, I guess the good news is nobody's going to be wondering. He'll know how they finished, and if it didn't work, hopefully he can say, well, I tried, you guys tried, now let's do this together. I guess that's the full evaluation.
This was such a rough couple of days for the Suns. They went into this thinking they could get Jimmy Butler for Bradley Beal, extend Jimmy Butler, extend Kevin Durant, swap out Nurkic for Udonis Haslem, actually a guy who could help them right now and improve their team.
But Wendy, how are they going to get Jimmy Butler without moving Bradley Beal?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but really, even the idea of it, though.
Bob, they believed they could do it. They were wrong. They believed they could do it, and they couldn't. And then they thought, okay, well, maybe we can get KD. They couldn't. The Valanciunas trade passed. They couldn't. And now they're talking about full evaluations at the end of the season.
Yeah, let's just take.
And now we have 5, 4, 3, 2. My friends, the 2025 NBA trade deadline, it has come and it has gone. I think we can all take a step back for just 1 second here and say, oh, this was a wild ride. Who saw Luka Doncic being traded to the Los Angeles Lakers when this week began? AD being on his way to the Dallas Mavericks. De'Aaron Fox heading to San Antonio. And maybe somehow the most shocking of all in some ways was that now we are going to be having this conversation, to your point, for the next 6 months about what's going to happen with Kevin Durant, because his name was not even close to the tip of anybody's tongue a week and a half ago. And now there is going to be a full reevaluation for the rest of the season, and it's going to be an uphill battle for them.
They've also got a difficult schedule, a very difficult schedule coming up. Let's just see what happens with the Suns in these next few weeks.
Well,
talk about needing leadership.
Well, first of all, who's going to call the coming to Jesus meeting? Because
I was just going to say that.
It's one that's needed.
Okay, what would you guys do?
It's happening.
I'm not. Just tell me. I'm not.
No, ain't nothing changing. Sean said if something changes.
Yeah, no, but when you say you call the meeting,
they're going to have that meeting.
Well, what I'm saying is you got to have one of them uncomfortable conversations that say, hey, look, we need to ride this out for the rest of the season. This is our roles. Don't get into the whole side of, you know, was you in the one in the office pushing for me to get traded? You know it already, right? So now you got to make sure you have Bradley Beal feel as comfortable as you possibly can, right? Like, hey, man, look, the trust is broken. How can you get through the rest of the
meeting?
Listen,
the conversation,
all players.
Just players.
Conversation.
No coaches. Okay, no coaches. And you say to the players, like...
I point at the coach's locker room and say, he can't help us.
Okay, that's interesting.
It's on us.
Yeah.
He can't help us. Everything that's got to be fixed with this team got to start in this locker room.
Right.
And it's got to start with me, him, and him, the other two guys.
And when do those meetings work and when do they not work?
It always worked with me.
Yeah, no. It always.
Because if you ain't gonna listen, then this might not be the place for you.
Yeah, so you were always on teams where they could hear that and they could.
And if you're a guy who's demanded that respect and brings it every day, your teammates will follow and they're gonna listen.
And so they're not getting that.
Well, but the problem, this is the disappointing part about this whole situation. Again, we're not dealing with a young ball club. We're dealing with grown men,
and guess what?
Seasoned vets.
And the crazy thing you said is, who was the dog and the leader in Boston?
Posey.
And in Miami, it was me and Posey. Yeah. Guess who's the assistant coach in Phoenix?
Yeah.
James Posey.
Well, I will say this, the turnaround that Shams is talking about, they're going to try to do that against the backdrop of Phoenix having the hardest remaining schedule in the NBA. I do want to bring in my good sis, Chiney Ogwumike, who is also here in our studios with our reporters here. How is the league digesting all of this, Chiney?
Look, to me, everything that you're saying from a player perspective, when it started, honestly, with Los Angeles Lakers and Dallas Mavericks, everyone realized you're not safe. And then you have this reality check where you think maybe Kevin Durant, someone who was perennially considered a top player in the NBA, myself, after making a hard decision to come to Phoenix, it's a little confusing. You said earlier today that locker room was, did you use the word toxic a little bit?
And it's been that way for a while.
Why? How do you think this looks moving forward for Phoenix?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's hard to go back. I mean, look, you're professionals. You're all making a lot of money, and you got to figure it out. But we've said so many times over the past few years on this set, talking about players who got traded after they asked for trades, okay? Kevin Durant didn't ask for a trade. Kevin Durant has asked for trades in the past, but he didn't ask for a trade.
True.
Anthony Davis didn't ask for a trade. Luka Doncic didn't ask for a trade. And this feels different to me. Like, very rarely do you see players of this caliber discussed in real trade conversations that they did not initiate. Because in the NBA, we've changed the CBA in such a way that there's not really free agency where big stars move it. Kevin Durant was probably the last big star who moved in free agency. But every message Kevin Durant had sent, he didn't want to go back to the Warriors. As Bob said, he didn't want to go to Memphis. I think he was happy in Phoenix. And now I think the question going forward is he still happy in Phoenix? What happens the rest of the season? How does Mike Budenholzer control that locker room? They have an assistant coach there, David Fizdale, who's pretty good at that. UD knows what I'm talking about. But that's going to be the story of the second half for me.
And Mark, you're really close with players in the NBA. You build, personal relationships. How do you think this affects Kevin Durant's morale? Because he has been, in some ways, their top performer, averaging 27 points per game. Devin Booker is a consistent piece. But how important do you think it is for them to try to right this ship as the season moves on?
Well, Kevin definitely, if you want to know how he feels, just look at him. He'll tell you. And I actually have been told there's someone high up with the Warriors that was really shocked and surprised that he wouldn't come back because they felt like this could have been a great place for him to finish his career, finish his legacy. If you look at Kevin's career, to me, the Warriors is where obviously he had the most success. He won a championship there, right? Things are ugly in OKC. Does he ever get his jersey retired there? Does he want to? Does he want to fix it there?
That'd be a great
Brooklyn,
spot.
Phoenix, what is it going to be? I think some people
went out
with
of
the
their way.
Warriors felt like this was his
They were
opportunity
shooting their shot, thinking that a relationship
to solidify
was there.
his legacy with the Warriors, get his jersey retired. And I feel like if he would have came back this time, instead of the Warriors saving him, he would have been their savior.
Exactly.
The fans were never behind him. How he wanted them to be when he played there was always, you're not going to compete with Steph, but he didn't feel like he got the love that he wanted. And I'd love to hear Bob talk about it. But I think if he would have came back, like, he missed an amazing opportunity.
At the Chase Center, they put his picture up on the wall. Like they have welcomed him back every single time. I know it didn't happen until just recently, but I think you're right.
What could have been, right?
That legacy question is an interesting one as we move forward.
I do think that when we think about Kevin Durant, his legacy, there's some criticisms that are unfair, unjust. He made a decision that was very controversial, leaving Oklahoma City, going to Golden State, then going to Brooklyn to have that
Where does he
experience.
hang his hat when it's all said and done?
I did sentimentally think that going to Golden State in this dire time of need would have been intriguing, but at the end of the day, he's the one who wants to determine his legacy. And I think those 4 stops, he probably looked at Phoenix and said, hey, this is where I envision my future being. And we've seen things change on a dime when it comes to the deadline.
How unhappy he was there. His last season there, he was miserable. And, hey, sometimes you don't want to revisit chapters.
And he and Draymond have never quite gotten right there.
Sometimes that lingers. Back to you.
I wonder what Bob's thinking.
Well, good thing he's like 20 feet away from us. Go to you. Back to you, Malika.
Well, Chiney, Myles Turner, I think, speaks for many when he says, you know what, I'm a survivor here. I made it past another trade deadline.
I don't think there was any chance they were trading him. They want to re-sign him this summer.
Well, you know what they say.
Respect the game.
They do. You know who was moved, and it was shocking? Luka Doncic to the I am tired. To the Los Angeles Lakers. We dissect every aspect of that move after this. Sorry, Warriors fans.
Try to boast at what I look like. Keep them down, try to wear, I pull up all brains. Jimmy with the heat, I'm on fire. It's NBA over here,